I don't know if that little sideways thing worked, but Facebook was telling me to rotate my phone, but I was doing it on purpose. Anyway, hi, I'm Jen Turnham, and today's topic is stop listening to bad advice. This might be why you might feel stuck or why you feel you can't succeed in creating and living your ideal life. But before we get stuck into that, just a little bit about me for those who might be watching this for the first time. I am passionate about using brain science and my psychology degree to help women fill their own cup first in order to be better mothers, sisters, daughters, friends, partners, just better. I'm also the host of the free Facebook group Highly Sensitive Extroverts. So if you are an HSP or highly sensitive person and you're an extrovert, there's not many of us because most HSPs or highly sensitive people, most of them are introverts. So if you are a HSP and an extrovert, then you are really and truly unique, because we make up only about 6% of the population, and because of that uniqueness we have different struggles and challenges to other HSPs and other extroverts even. So I've created the Highly Sensitive Extroverts group to help people like you and me. Ladies only, sorry, just clarify that. I also today, before I get started, wanted to draw your attention to, I'm really excited about a free live masterclass that I'm running soon. The topic is my simple 4-step pathway to live your ideal life. The link to register for that is in the post attached to this video. So why not do it now? Register for the free masterclass, because I'm just going to fiddle around here on my computer for a second and share this video into the group. Might be able to hear second version of me in the background there. Going to mute that. Okay, so back to the topic. So as I mentioned, the topic is stop listening to bad advice. And the specifically I'm going to cover the 5 biggest mistakes that people make when trying to create and live their ideal life. And I imagine that if you're watching this, you probably at least once have tried and failed to implement a change in your life. But what I'm here to tell you is it's not your fault. Most of the time you've probably just been given crap advice. So today we're going to go through some of those things that perhaps you shouldn't be listening to that are out there. So first of all, in the age of internet and technology, in my opinion, there has been a significant increase in life coaches, self-help gurus, etc., etc. Now, in some ways, this increase in life coaches and self-help gurus can be helpful when you're trying to start living your ideal life. However, there is also a huge amount of bad advice out there. So what I'm going to do today is, as I mentioned, go through the biggest mistakes that you can make and the bad advice that you should avoid at all costs if you want any chance of success. Now this topic, as I was preparing it, I realized that it could be quite controversial, but it is something that I am really passionate about, because even myself, over the past few years, I have handed over lots of money to various coaches who perhaps were not the best ones to be giving me advice regarding my business. So I want to try and save you some time, energy, effort, and money by going through some of the big mistakes or the bad advice that's out there. Now, the first one I want to cover is the concept of just do it. Nike made millions, maybe even billions from this slogan, but when it comes to making shifts in your mindset or attempting to change your life, it simply does not work. And people who suggest this as a solution, all it shows is they obviously have no idea about brain science and how our brain can actually sabotage our best efforts in trying to implement change in our life. Now, the reason for that is because, and I mention this almost every video I do because it's relevant to pretty much all the topics I cover, we have a lazy brain, and that's because our brain is hardwired for survival, and our brain actually uses 25% of our energy. So basically, that's a lot of energy if you think of the size of your brain compared to the rest of you. Some might be bigger than others. Just kidding. So 25% energy requirement is quite a lot. So it's kind of obvious that that's why our brain is always looking for ways to conserve energy. So unless we take this into consideration when we're implementing shifts or changes in our life and our mindset, then essentially we're fighting a losing battle that our brain is basically going to win. So if you are somebody who has ever beaten yourself up because you feel you should be able to just commit and just do it, then please, please stop beating yourself up, because there is so much more to it than just do it. It's not hard though. You just simply need to understand how the human brain works and use it to your advantage when trying to implement changes or shifts in mindset. And that's where I can help, because my psychology background, my training, all my ongoing research has been predominantly dedicated to brain science and CBT, or cognitive behavior therapy. And I can reassure you that there are simple techniques that we can use to win the battle against our lazy brain. So that's number one, just do it. Please ignore that advice because you're setting yourself up to fail. Now, the second biggest mistake I wanted to talk about, and this might be the one that's perhaps a little controversial, the second biggest mistake is following the advice of unqualified or underqualified people. I'm going to pause for a minute and say, hey Mads, how you going? Sorry, got distracted. Somebody just joined. So number two, second biggest mistake, is following the advice of unqualified or underqualified people. Now, there are thousands of coaches and self-help gurus out there who don't have the training, the background, or the experience to be training others. And just because they've made a transformation themselves doesn't mean it will work for you. Just because they did an online 12-month course to become a life coach, it doesn't mean they are qualified to dispense advice on transforming your life. So some questions I would ask is, do they understand brain science? Do they understand human behavior? Do they understand the link between our thoughts, our feelings, and our behavior? Do they have a psychology degree? Most of them don't. So my advice is to be really careful who you follow and who you take your life advice from. When you're contemplating signing up with a coach or signing up for an online course, dig a little deeper and see what makes them qualified to be teaching what they are teaching. And if you've done any coaching or online courses that haven't worked, it's not necessarily your fault. Perhaps the advice or the course wasn't structured to account for the science behind human behaviour and the challenges that we have with change due to the way our brain is hardwired. So that's the second biggest mistake, is be careful who you take advice from. The third mistake I want to talk about is trying to do it all at once. So this is where, again, knowledge of brain science really helps. I know for a fact that many of you have probably run into challenges in the past because you have decided that you're going to stop drinking, eat more healthy foods. Hopefully you're still there. I just got distracted by my phone ringing. So I'm going to go back a bit. So I know for a fact that many of you have probably run into challenges in the past because you've decided to stop drinking, eat more healthy foods, exercise every day, start meditating and get up early all at once starting Monday. If you can relate to that, please give me a thumbs up, because I think almost everybody out there has probably done something similar. Now, the challenge with this is this guaranteed recipe to send your brain into overwhelm, and your lazy brain will freak out and decide that to do all that is going to take way too much energy. So guess what? You end up stopping all those good things that you're trying to implement into your life, or you might be able to manage it for a few days, but it will be a big struggle. So one of the key things I teach is how to implement changes and shifts in our life without sending our brain into overwhelm. Because there are a few things that we can do, as well as a few things to be prepared for, that basically significantly increases our chances of making the changes we're trying to implement successful. So that's mistake number 3. Please don't try and do it all at once, because you'll just end up feeling like crap because your brain ends up shutting down and preventing you from achieving anything really. Now, the fourth mistake I want to talk about is positive thinking. Now, if anyone out there, a coach or anybody, says to you, just think positive and you'll be fine, you have my permission to punch them in the nose. Not really, but kinda. So the problem with just having the attitude of, oh, I just need to think positively, is that our brain has what I call an inbuilt BSD. Now, BSD stands for bullshit detector. So if things are going pear-shaped, you're having a really bad day or just got a lot of crap happening in your life, and you just try and think positively, the BSD in your brain is going to be sounding the alarm like crazy and going bullshit, 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 basically. So thinking positively is not the solution. So what I want to clarify is that there is a big difference between positive thinking and helpful thought patterns. So that's what I teach, is how we can first of all recognize unhelpful thought patterns and then shift them into helpful thought patterns. Again, it's not that hard. You just need to know how to do it so that you can work with the way your brain works. So the last one I'm going to go through, so number 5, is unrealistic expectations. Now, unfortunately, we now live in what has become a quick fix society. And there are so many things that simply cannot be fixed, solved, or improved in a really short time frame. So be really wary of those who promise you results in next to no time or immediately. Because in order to make significant shifts in our mindset, in our life, it takes work, effort, time, and patience. In fact, it's usually the quick solutions that don't stick. Now, the other thing I want to clarify here is that there are going to be setbacks. It's not all smooth sailing, but it is so worth it. So when I say it takes work, effort, time, and patience, don't be put off because the results are so worth it in the end. And when it comes to this one, unrealistic expectations, I want you to remember the Pantene commercial. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen. So the best thing to do in this situation is to adjust your expectations. Now, I love the saying that I came across recently, and it goes like this: instead of trying to fix your whole life, why not think about adding additional good things one at a time? Just let your pile of good things grow. So that's pretty much it on the top 5 biggest mistakes that people make, or the bad advice that people listen to. Just going to recap what they are. So first of all, just do it. Just don't, please, because it doesn't work. Number 2, if you can run into trouble if you take advice from unqualified or underqualified people. The third one is don't try and do everything all at once, because your brain will thwart you every step of the way. Number 4, it's not about positive thinking. Positive thinking is not the answer. And number 5 is having unrealistic expectations. So try and adjust your expectations to think about adding more good things to your life one at a time. So if you have made any of the above mistakes or taken on any bad advice, rest assured you are not alone. It's very easy to do, but what I'm going to invite you to do this time is register for my webinar or my masterclass. It's free, it's coming up soon, and you'll learn about my 4-step pathway to living your ideal life. Now, there will be a replay that is made available, but only for those who register at the link attached to this video. Lastly, before I go, on Thursday, I'm going to be doing another extra special live video. So normally it's every Monday, but these 2 weeks I've been doing Monday and Thursday. On Thursday, I'm going to talk you through a case study of one of my clients who is in the midst of creating and living her ideal life. So you won't want to miss this one. So I will see you in the group, Highly Sensitive Extroverts, or Thursday right here. Have a good one until then. Ciao for now.